Looking back on a 31-year career with the RCMP, Marge Hudson from Barons River First Nation says her life has come full circle.
I loved wearing my uniform. I was proud to wear my uniform. But it was tough.
She was the first First Nations woman to serve in the RCMP in Manitoba. Hudson was accepted into the force in 1979 after a friend encouraged her to join.
He said, Marge, you got accepted into the RCMP, but can you promise me something? He said, please don't ever quit. They think you're going to quit because you're Indian.
Hudson held on to that promise for 3 decades. She says she was subjected to racist acts during her time as a constable, and it started at the police academy. Indigenous candidates had 3 months of training rather than the regular 6 months.
We were given brown serges instead of the red scarlet serge. I just went with the flow because we were the first minority that they hired.
Hudson claims her abilities were always questioned. She was never given credit for solving cases and never promoted. In one case, Hudson says she was asked to drive an intoxicated female home while without a gun and 6 months pregnant. When they arrived at the home, the girl pulled out a gun.
The second I floored it, she started shooting. And then I pulled over, and she went back in the house. So I called for help. 6 months pregnant with my son, I was shot at. Did they care that I was out in the field with no gun, in maternity clothes? No.
Constable Marge Hudson left the RCMP in 2009. In July 2020, she filed a class action suit against the RCMP on behalf of herself and other members who allegedly experienced racism in the RCMP.
There is a lot of systemic racism still today. I see it. I know it. People tell me. The people in the RCMP tell me. It is very much alive, and they really need to do something about it.
Hudson is now signed up with ISN Musqueam, Canada's first Indigenous Emergency Operations Centre led by Indigenous police specialists. It was created to fill a gap for First Nations-led emergency responses.
They know who I am. Where the RCMP for 31 years did not know who I was. That's why I say there's no comparison whatsoever.
ISN Musqueam is playing a key role in planning a search for the remains of Mercedes Myron, Morgan Harris, and Buffalo Woman in the Prairie Green landfill north of Winnipeg. A July 2023 feasibility study says a search is feasible.
Where at some points in the RCMP would be brushed off, now to going in full force. The search will happen, and we will find them. There is no other way.
After an emotional career with the RCMP, Hudson says she can finally focus on helping the Indigenous community. ISN Musqueam is working on a final report for the search, and that deadline is mid-January. Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News, Winnipeg.